Yuji Itadori doesn't currently have a simple domain or domain expansion, but what if I told you that I might have discovered his unique ability? We've seen such a weak Yuji up until now, and I'm disappointed that they haven't given us a complete showcase of what he is truly capable of. With that in mind, I'll come up with a convincing argument that explains why Yuji Itadori's domain is ideal. Together, let's discover Yuji's domain. Based on his strengths and potential, Yuji Itadori has a long history of foreshadowing from Kenjaku, Sukuna, and Gojo. I will first explain the type of domain Yuji will have, and my reasoning behind it, then I will explain the effects of the domain. The domain Yuji Itadori will have is a simple one, but it's not like the hollow wicker basket or the shadow style. Rather, it's more like this guy. His name is Mio Rokujushi. His addition to the Jujutsu Kaisen character roster does seem a little strange, however. Not only did he come in just to assist Maki, but I believe they demonstrated to us his domain for a specific reason. His domain operates solely for the purpose of sumo and is the first time we see the simple domain in this manner. It cuts everything from everyone else, meaning nobody else could tell what is happening inside that domain. It being a simple domain was a presumption from Maki. So what if it's a distinctive type of domain, possibly a more multifaceted domain? But let's say it is a simple domain. As soon as Maki enters, time flows differently, and they could not elude this domain. It flows faster inside due to neutralizing all elements of binding vow. In the domain, sumo was the only thing that was allowed, so we know there are strict conditions you can have inside the domain like this. This leads me to believe Yuji Itadori will not be able to do a domain expansion because that is a very difficult cost, even taking Megami years to control and master, but a mini-domain in which his physicality will gain victory over every opponent's domain. His domain can possibly require everyone that passes through that domain expansion to have little to no cursed energy. This would mean Yuji Itadori would be able to fight 1v1 versus anyone that is in his simple domain, but there is more reason as to why I believe this would be the case and how he would obtain a simple domain. Throughout the series, one prevalent perception of sorcerers, as well as statements from the Kyoto Goodwill event, is that Yuji is incredibly powerful. Megami added, "Yuji Itadori will win if everyone in Tokyo and Kyoto who has zero curse energy goes against Yuji also having zero curse energy." This is because Maki, who is strong and doesn't use cursed energy, plus Todo, who appears to be a physical freak of nature, speak volumes about how strong Yuji Itadori is. Another instance is Yuji's fight against Higuruma. This evidence supports the theory that Yuji is in a different league from everyone else without cursed energy and may even be grade 1 even without curse energy. However, how would he obtain a simple domain in the first place? Well, according to chapters 222, there is a theory that Yuji could change souls with Kusakabe due to the book that Yuki had given them, possibly with the help of Ino since he can see different planes and souls. Given that he is proficient in using the simple domain, Yuji would likely be learning how to do so with Kutsukabe's body. There is a good case where they switch bodies because Yuji is very respectful of his elders, and he wouldn't speak to them in the manner that he did throughout the series. Later on, we see the attitude remain as well, so it pretty much makes sense. Overall, Yuji is training to learn the simple domain, which might give him a good basis for activating the sumo type of domain. Yuji is exceptionally good at adapting, as we have previously explained. Gai Akutomi undoubtedly added Mio for a purpose. It couldn't have been for Maki alone. However, I believe it was done to demonstrate later in the series that Yuji is capable of having a straightforward domain and isn't just some random thought they stumbled upon. How would they learn about such a straightforward domain that operates well behind closed doors? Maki probably told them about the fight. This also possibly included the fact that in the simple domain, even though there were certain rules intact, there were specific requirements and things you're allowed to do and not do. Noritoshi probably weighed in, saying that they did it so fast, like it was unbelievable how much he changed. And she possibly said that she had around 1,000 bouts in that modest time frame, which seems severely impossible. This is something I've not heard introduced in Jujutsu Kaisen before, and this is the first time something of that similar concept even existed from what we know. because I can't determine another explanation as to why they encompassed Mio Rokujushi just for Maki to be fully realized, showing us a domain we've never even recognized before. It just doesn't make much sense to me. I think it's used as a plot device to help with the advancement of characters, and Maki and Yuji will benefit from it. That's just my perspective. Another instance in which Yuji actually shows that he is very much superior physically against other opponents is when he fought against Choso. If you recall, Choso was fighting against Yuji on his turf. Yuji, after putting the sprinklers down, felt like he had a bit of an advantage because this is what he was used to and what he knows. But instead of having it as a domain, he constructed that environment by himself, enabling himself to have the upper hand against Choso. And Choso himself even admires how 2 punches were so effective from Yuji and they damaged him a lot. This physical nature was also displayed when Yuji was playing pretend to try and get hackery and he fought against Panda. They really witnessed that he was a freak of nature and he was the best person to fight in the ring. We all know that there are so many instances in which Yuji Itadori's physicality has been very highlighted and, respectively, one of the most effective. Every time hackery punched him, he got right back up, even though he was getting hit with curse energy and was defenseless. On top of everything, we acknowledge that Kenjaku and Sukuna know something about Yuji that we don't. Highlighted from the very beginning, only once every 1,000 years or so is a person like Yuji born. Kenjaku orchestrated this and that, which could indicate that Yuji is of a different caliber than the others because skills like limitless strength and 6 eyes don't appear every 1,000 years. But they're also saying that Yuji is more phenomenal than that, particularly given that there isn't anything blatantly different about him than the others, especially when he just kicks and punches. However, a common theme is his sturdiness, which has been emphasized repeatedly throughout the series. So we know that if it came down to a domain fight, Yuji's sturdiness would prevail or could contend. I'll discuss why Yuji's domain is ideal in a moment. That being said, it hasn't even been a year since Yuji discovered cursed energy, and he is demonstrating more and more over time that he is willing to do so. In fact, Kenjaku added that he expects Yuji to perform well, because as a cursed womb used as a vessel, Yuji using his sturdiness to gain the upper hand in a fight inside the domain would be impressive, especially since you can't see it. So why is Yuji performing his domain flawlessly? I believe this is the perfect balance and the one that corresponds to his character the most for Yuji to get his revenge as someone who's not able to cause a domain expansion or close the gap between Sukuna and himself in such a short time. The most fascinating way would be for Yuji to have a simple domain. Not only does it equalize the playing field between Sukuna and Yuji, but Yuji will be heavily damaged as well because Sukuna is strong. But his securing the victory is understandable, especially with how his character has been highlighted thus far in terms of everyone having 0 cursed energy. Sukuna had utilized up the forearms form versus Yuji, and Yuji still prevailing over the odds, but in his eyes, closing the gap and gaining the advantage when casting this domain. Now, what could happen to Yuji in this domain? The most probable thing to occur is Yuji entering an athlete state. I suspect Yuji would obtain a condition to do Black Flash. No one can do it at will, as we know, but Yuji has used it so much that it seems that he's blessed with the gift of using it whenever he pleases. For example, against Mahito, this athlete state could possibly be the only advantage Yuji has, but I doubt that he will get any enhancements in that manner because of the Jujutsu binding vow rules, but only time will tell. In conclusion, Yuji would receive a straightforward domain akin to a sumo wrestler, but big things are expected of him. This domain reflects his strengths and what he excels at, helping him defeat heavy hitters and giving Yuji the anime moment we have all been waiting for. It is officially the ideal domain of Yuji, and I can already see Sukuna quivering in his boots. I appreciate you viewing this video and I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please drop a like, a comment, and hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so let's make that happen. Until next time, peace.